Welcome back, troglodytes, to the condition overview of this Thunderhorse Explorer guitar. This is definitely a player's grade version. It's got lots of nicks and dings and scratches pretty much all over this thing. Quite a few modifications to go over, but it is a fantastic playing instrument. So let's go ahead and get into it here. You can see the face of the headstock. You've got quite a bit of string change wear. Lots of kind of heavier scratches around the tuning pegs and some nicks and dings just from bumping into stuff. This was definitely a heavily gigged guitar, as you can see. Your truss rod is still perfectly adjustable though, thankfully. The nut has been upgraded to what looks like a bone nut to me. I could be wrong on that. The job was definitely professional. You don't have any finish cracking around the sides of the nut like sometimes you'll see. But it was a very good job on that. And surprisingly, despite the guitar only being a few years old, it has been refretted. Now, I'm guessing it was either because this thing was heavily gigged and they wore the frets out, or they simply just preferred these jumbo frets, because they're definitely taller than the stock frets. The refret, basically what it means for you, yes, the frets are taller and they're going to last you longer, but you lose the fret edge binding, which is either a pro or a con to you, depending on if you like it or not. Personally, as a player, it makes it a little bit easier to play because you don't get caught in it. Like sometimes a little gap will appear in between the fret nib, but it also loses some of the aesthetic appeal. But ebony fretboard is in good shape. There's really no fret wear to it as of right now because of the refret process. Now, the pickups in this thing are Burstbucker 1 and 2, which is exactly what this guitar came with stock. But the story behind this one is somebody put EMGs in it at one point in time. They were like chrome covered. And if you don't know, in order to put EMGs in a guitar, you have to replace the entire wiring kit because they use these tiny little pots. So your original pots were taken out when that happened. But then the other owner got this guitar. He's like, I don't want EMGs in this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with EMGs. It's just I like, the stock traditional look here. So that person got Quick Connect Burstbucker 1 and 2s. And similar to like the Epiphone version of this guitar, they did coil split pots when they restored the pots to this guitar. So this one actually has more functional tones than an original Thunderhorse because it has these pots here. So that's a pull up and push back down, and that controls the neck pickup and then the bridge pickup. So if you don't know what a coil split is, it basically turns this from a humbucker into kind of a single coil-ish sound. So it just adds some more tonal diversity for you. This pot is a made in Korea type pot. It's just your master tone. It works just fine. The bridge is original, I do believe, but the saddles have been replaced with what look like Graphtec saddles. They're kind of a darker color. The tailpiece here has been replaced. This came to me with one that didn't look quite stock. I just threw this one that was in my parts drawer. Yes, it does say Epiphone on the bottom side, but it's a tailpiece. So the guitar itself, pretty good shape from far away anyways, but once you get up close you can see there's a ding right there. You've kind of got a small impression line or just a dirt line right there. But once you get this in the light, you can see quite a few scratches pretty much all over this guitar. Honestly, this is in fair shape at best. I mean, it might rate a little higher to some people, but this is not a collector's grade version of a Thunderhorse. It's got quite a bit of wear and tear all over this instrument, especially on the pickguard here. You can see all these swirls and whatnot. Since everything else was replaced, I'm guessing the three-way toggle switch was also replaced, and you can see it has a metal tip on it instead of a plastic one. That's something I forgot to mention about these pickup rings. These are also metal. It looks like somebody might have just painted them black, and you can see where it's wearing away. The front, it's presentable. Basically, the only wear you'll see is right there until you start, actually looking at the guitar. the serial number there dates it to 2011, made in USA. You've got some scratches and scuffs along the top, pretty much all over this guitar. And there is a scratch right here. It's not a break, crack, or repair. Guitars don't break in perfectly straight lines anyways, but you do have that scratch. Now the neck, it's got some very light wear and tear. Basically, you've got a mark right there and there. And I would consider this more of a 60s neck profile. It's not too chunky or anything. And the back of the guitar now. You've got quite a bit of buckle worming and scratches pretty much all over. It's definitely a well-played instrument, and there are some areas down here where the finish has been broken through. Now, I can touch those up for you if you want me to. I have a black lacquer touch-up pen, but, the color's never exactly the same, so I usually just leave them be unless somebody wants me to do it. You've got original strap buttons, and again, some finish wear here. I mean, it is a well-played instrument. It was never seen as a collectible. Take a quick look at the sides here. Nothing too major, but just, again, nicks, dings, scratches. So if you're looking for a Thunderhorse to play, this is one of those. Something else you can see here is a small finish check line that kind of runs along the binding. What that is where the binding truly ends and the body begins. So you can see that line pretty much all around this guitar if you get it into light just right. As far as the weight goes, we'll fire up the scale. And it looks like this one weighs 8 pounds, 10.4 ounces. This guitar does retain its original Gibson USA case. It is in awful condition. You can see you've got some glue residue on the front from some stickers or something. Somebody drew a little goatee guy under the Gibson USA. You've got lots of tears along the toe lecks and the sides. One thing I do need to mention is that this latch, you can see it was kind of smashed at one point in time. I've kind of bent it back into shape, that way you can use it, but it does look a little funky. The handle shows quite a bit of wear, but does still function. I mean, it's a well-used case. I mean, you're going to use it to transport stuff anyway, so I guess the wear and tear on it doesn't really matter, but it is heavily used. The interior is white. It's dirty in some areas, as you can see, but it does protect the guitar well. And a very dirty case at the top there. I don't know, you might be able to clean that off with some soap and water though. Now we'll do a quick test here to make sure all the electronics are working. Currently we're on the neck pickup. Coil split it. Middle position. Now the bridge pickup. We'll show the tone pot. And then the volume of each one. The neck pickups. So you got just a little bit of scratchiness to this one, but not a lot. So overall, Thunderhorse Explorers, they are freaking awesome. I love these things. If you haven't checked out my full review of the other one I had that was more original than this one, definitely do. But that will do it for the condition overview of this particular Thunderhorse. If you're interested in this guitar, feel free to check out the link in the description, and you can purchase it there.